A family gathering filled with laughter and smiles, the kind that makes you think everything's perfect. But then, one woman stands up, raises her glass, and says just a few words that shatter it all. "To my husband, who's been sleeping with my cousin for the last 5 years." The room goes silent. The shock is palpable. But it doesn't stop there. The woman he betrayed her with is sitting right across the table. What happens next will leave you speechless. Before we dive into this jaw-dropping story, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of these unforgettable moments. And let me know in the comments, if you were in her shoes, what would you have done? Now let's get into it. The warm glow of the chandelier above the dinner table casts a soft light on the faces of the family, gathered together in the dining room. Laughter bounces off the walls, mingling with the clink of silverware and the chatter of old stories being shared. It's a rare occasion, a long overdue family gathering, the kind where everyone's a little more comfortable, a little more relaxed. The meal is served, the wine is poured, and the atmosphere is light, like everything is as it should be. At the head of the table sits Anna, her hands resting gently on her lap. She watches, almost detached, as her husband, John, laughs at something her uncle, Dave, I set across the table. Emily, her cousin, sits next to John, her gaze flickering between Anna and her husband with a subtle tension. Anna feels it, but she spent years convincing herself she was imagining it. The flickers of doubt, the lingering glances, the hushed conversations when no one thought she was listening. Tonight it all comes to a head. Anna's gaze shifts from John to Emily, and for a moment it feels like time stands still. The laughter around her seems distant, the clinking glass is muted as the weight of the truth she's carried for so long presses down on her chest. She spent years pretending, trying to ignore the sinking feeling that something was wrong, but tonight she can't do it anymore. She looks at John, his charming smile, the way he's so relaxed, so at ease with her cousin. His laughter fills the room, but it feels hollow to her now. He's the man she married, the father of her children, the man who has promised her loyalty, honesty, and love. But what Anna knows, what she's known for far too long, is that those promises were nothing but lies. Her fingers curl around the stem of her wine glass. It's almost time. Anna stands up slowly, her movements deliberate, commanding. The sudden shift in her posture makes the room go quiet. Conversations die down. The clink of glasses halts. Everyone looks at her, their eyes drawn to the calm figure at the head of the table. Anna raises her glass high, a slight tremor in her hand. The silence deepens, thick and heavy, as she stands there for a moment, letting the weight of the room settle on her. John looks at her, expecting some kind of sweet toast, a reflection of the long hours spent preparing the meal, of family bonds, of the warmth of shared memories. But Anna's gaze doesn't soften. "To my husband," she begins, her voice steady, but edged with an emotion that no one expected, "who spent the last 10 years lying to me, lying to all of us." The room goes deathly still. The words hang in the air, thick with the promise of something far more dangerous than a simple toast. The flicker of confusion crosses John's face, but he doesn't speak. He doesn't know what to say. He can't. Not yet. Anna lets the silence stretch, her gaze now shifting from John to Emily. Her cousin's face tightens, a small flicker of guilt flashing in her eyes. But she doesn't look away. She doesn't try to deny it. "To my dear cousin, Emily," Anna continues, her voice rising just slightly, "who's spent the last 5 years sleeping with my husband behind my back." The words drop like a bomb. Gasps echo through the room. The silence is broken, but it's not filled with relief. No, it's filled with shock, horror, disbelief. John's face drains of color, his mouth opening and closing like he's trying to find words, but nothing comes out. Emily's hand trembles, the glass in her hand slipping slightly before she steadies it, her eyes locked on the table. Anna doesn't sit back down. She doesn't even flinch. She stands tall, her eyes locked on John, watching him unravel in real time. She feels the weight of every second of betrayal, every hour of doubt, every unspoken suspicion, and she lets it hang in the air between them. "Go on, John," she says, her voice now cold. Tell everyone how you've been sharing a bed with my cousin for the past 5 years. Tell them how you thought you could get away with it. John's eyes flicker to Emily, then back to Anna, but still no words come. The man who has always had the ability to talk his way out of anything is silent, speechless, unable to defend the indefensible. Behind him, Dave, her uncle, shifts in his seat, his face contorting with confusion. What the hell is this? His voice is low, but there's an edge to it, like he's trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. Anna lets out a bitter laugh, shaking her head slowly. Oh, don't tell me you didn't know, she says, her tone biting. The man you've trusted, the man you've shared holidays with, the man who's been sitting at your table for years, is the same man who's been sleeping with your niece. The words hit harder than she anticipated. She feels them, deep in her chest, but she doesn't flinch. She doesn't step back. This is her moment. This is the truth she's been waiting to speak. She watches as the chaos unfurls, each of them realizing slowly what's been happening under their noses for years. Mark still doesn't speak. His face is a mask of disbelief, but he doesn't deny it. Emily, on the other hand, refuses to meet anyone's eyes, her fingers gripping the edge of the table so tightly that her knuckles turn white. Anna's stomach twists with the realization that all of this, was happening right under her nose. She holds their gazes, one by one, letting the words sink in. The silence is broken, but the air is thick with the weight of the truth she's carried with her for years, the truth that will change everything. The room is frozen. No one moves, no one speaks. For a moment, it feels like the world outside the dining room has ceased to exist. The laughter that filled the air moments ago is now replaced with the heavy, suffocating silence that hangs over the table. Anna watches them all, John, Emily, her uncle, the cousins, all of them, standing still in shock, their faces drained of color. John is the first to react. His hands are shaking as he places them flat on the table, pushing himself up from his seat. His face has gone pale, but his voice comes out sharp and defensive, the bravado he's always worn slipping away with each word. Anna, this isn't what you think, he stammers, his usual smooth tone faltering. But there's no confidence in his voice, no control, only panic. Anna doesn't blink. She doesn't even look away. She's done with the excuses, done with the lies. For years, she swallowed every justification he gave, every, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. But now, none of that matters. All that matters is the truth, the one that's finally out in the open. Oh, really, John? Her voice is low, almost a whisper, but it cuts through the stillness like a blade. Then tell me, what is this? How do you explain this? She motions to Emily, who is now staring down at her plate, her hands folded tightly in her lap. The guilt radiates from her, but she doesn't speak, doesn't dare to defend herself. She knows there's nothing to say. Anna's eyes never leave John's. You thought you could lie to me for years, sneak around, sleep with my cousin, and I'd never find out? She lets the words linger, her gaze turning cold. Tell me how long you thought you could keep this secret, John. How many more family gatherings would you have sat through, pretending nothing was wrong? John's eyes dart between Anna and Emily, but he still says nothing. His jaw clenches, his fists forming at his sides. His usual arrogance has melted away, replaced with fear. Anna feels a twisted sense of satisfaction at the sight. This man who thought he could control everything is now realizing just how far his lies have gone. Is this why you've been so distant? Anna's voice breaks, but only just. She takes a deep breath, steadying herself. You've been sneaking behind my back for years, and you couldn't even be honest with me about it? No, you had to drag my own cousin into this. You had to make her a part of it. Emily shifts uncomfortably, her face pale. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Her silence speaks volumes. Anna doesn't need her to say anything. The truth is already written all over her face. Don't look at her like she's the victim, John, Anna continues, her voice gaining strength. You're both guilty. You're both responsible for this mess. As the room absorbs the weight of Anna's words, her Uncle Dave is the next to speak. His voice is tight. his usual jovial demeanor replaced with a cold seriousness. Anna, he hesitates as if trying to piece together the fractured family before him. I didn't know. I didn't know about any of this. Anna doesn't take her eyes off John. I know, Dave, but you know now. The tension in the room thickens. Everyone is looking at John now, waiting for him to defend himself, to explain the years of deception, the betrayal that shattered this family. But he doesn't. He's quiet, almost defeated. Anna breathes deeply. She's not done yet. There's more to say, and she's not about to let them off easy. John's silence lingers, but it's not the kind of silence that brings comfort. It's the kind that tightens around you, suffocating any chance of escape. The betrayal has been exposed, but there's still so much left to uncover. Anna finally takes a step back, her eyes scanning the faces of the family members who are still processing what's happening. Emily's face is now a mask of guilt, her eyes darting around the room like she's searching for an escape. But there's no running now, not for either of them. I've spent the last 10 years thinking I was married to someone who loved me, Anna says, her voice steady but thick with emotion. I've built my life around this man. I've trusted him, stood by him, supported him, and for what? So he could betray me with the one person I trusted more than anyone else? My own flesh and blood? Emily flinches at the mention of her blood ties, but she doesn't defend herself. She knows she can't. There's no excuse, no justification that will make this right. I'll tell you something, John, Anna continues, her eyes narrowing, the anger building behind her words. You didn't just break my heart. You didn't just destroy our marriage. You destroyed this family. You've torn everything apart. And I'm done. I'm done playing the fool. I'm done pretending like nothing's wrong. John shifts uncomfortably in his seat, but he still doesn't speak. He opens his mouth once, twice, but the words won't come. His usual smooth charm has disappeared, leaving behind a man who can't face the consequences of his actions. Anna turns to Emily now. How could you do this to me, Emily? Her voice cracks, but she steadies herself. I've trusted you. I've loved you like a sister. How long did you think you could lie to me? How long did you think I wouldn't notice? For a brief moment, Emily's lips tremble. She opens her mouth as though to say something, but no words come out. She's not sure what to say. There's nothing she can say. The truth is too overwhelming. Anna steps closer, her eyes locking onto Emily's. You were supposed to be family. You were supposed to have my back. And yet, here you are, sitting at this table, pretending like nothing's wrong. Do you really think you can just sit there and act innocent? The room is deathly silent. Emily's eyes glisten with the tears she's too proud to shed. John shifts uncomfortably again. His fingers curl into fists. But it's not the anger that Anna feels from him. It's fear. Fear that the lies are finally catching up with him. And Anna is done waiting for him to fix this. She's done waiting for anyone to save her. She's taking control now. The silence in the room is unbearable, each passing second stretching out like an eternity. Anna stands at the center of it all, her chest rising and falling with every shallow breath she takes. The weight of the moment is crushing, but she's not backing down. Not this time. She looks from John, her expression sharp. Her voice breaks the stillness, but it's colder now, each word slicing through the tension. You thought you could keep this secret forever, Anna says slowly, her gaze narrowing. But you were wrong. She turns to Emily, the bitterness in her words clear. You thought that by keeping your lies hidden, you would never have to face the consequences. But the truth has a way of coming out. And tonight, it's coming out. All of it. John's gaze flickers briefly, but he quickly looks away. He's trying to compose himself, but Anna can see it. The fear, the realization that the perfect facade he's built for years is crumbling right in front of him. And still, he doesn't speak. He knows better than to try to deny it now. Anna takes another step forward, the floor creaking under the pressure. Emily's gaze is locked on the table, her hands tightly clasped together, trembling slightly. Anna's eyes soften for a fraction of a second, just long enough to see the guilt in her cousin's eyes, but the softness fades as quickly as it came. There's no time for empathy now. You ruined everything, didn't you? Anna's voice is barely a whisper, but it feels like a shout in the quiet room. You couldn't have just left well enough alone. You couldn't have just been honest with me. You had to keep your affair going, drag Emily into this mess, and lie to everyone you love. John opens his mouth, finally finding his voice, but his words come out shaky, desperate. Anna, I didn't mean for this to happen. It wasn't like that. No, Anna interrupts, her voice sharp. Don't try to justify it. You've spent years lying to me, to my family, and you thought you could keep everything hidden forever. You didn't even care that Emily, my own cousin, was sitting here pretending like she wasn't a part of this betrayal. You were so wrapped up in your lies that you didn't even consider the damage you were doing. John's face turns red with shame and anger, but he's still too weak to fight back. Emily, however, is starting to crack. Her lips tremble as her eyes flicker up to Anna, but the words she wants to say are trapped inside her. She's no longer the confident, smiling cousin Anna once knew. She's a shadow of that person, and Anna can see it. Say something, Anna demands, her voice growing colder. Tell me it's not true. Tell me you didn't betray me with him. Tell me you didn't spend the last 5 years in my house, smiling at me, pretending to be my family while sleeping with my husband behind my back. Tell me you didn't do that. Emily opens her mouth, but the words fall short. She swallows hard, her face flushed with guilt and embarrassment. But still, she says nothing. Anna shakes her head, her jaw tightening. You're just as guilty as he is. You're no better, Emily. The room is thick with tension, the air heavy with the weight of the truth. Anna's body trembles slightly, but it's not from fear. It's from the sheer force of anger, from the pain that's been building up for years finally being unleashed. She turns to her uncle, Dave, who's been silent through it all, his face a mix of disbelief and shock. I know you didn't know, Dave, she says, her voice softer now, though the bitterness still lingers. But you need to understand that the man sitting at the head of this table has been lying to all of us. We're not just dealing with an affair. We're dealing with years of deception, years of manipulation. Dave nods, though his expression is still unreadable. He looks at John, his disappointment evident, but there's something else in his eyes too, a hint of sadness, of resignation. Anna lets out a breath, steadying herself. She's not done yet, not by a long shot. The room is still. The only sound now is the soft ticking of the clock on the wall, the seconds stretching painfully long. Anna looks at John, her gaze piercing, almost accusing. She feels the weight of the years of lies, of the secrets buried beneath their marriage, all pressing down on her chest. But tonight, she won't let them remain buried any longer. So, John, Anna begins, her voice calm but laced with fury. What happens now? What's your excuse going to be? You've already lied to me for years. You've already broken every vow we ever made. She pauses, letting the silence hang in the air before continuing. And now I find out you've been lying about something even worse. John's eyes narrow, confusion flickering across his face. What are you talking about? He asks, trying to mask his unease. But it's too late. Anna already knows what's coming next, and there's no stopping it now. Anna takes a deep breath. The money, John. The money you've been hiding from me. Where's it gone? Where's the money from our accounts? You didn't think I'd notice, did you? All the strange transfers, the missing funds? Tell me about it. A flicker of panic crosses John's face, but he quickly tries to mask it. He shifts uncomfortably in his chair, his mouth opening and closing, but no words come out. Anna's eyes lock onto his, unwavering. You've been siphoning money from our joint account for years, haven't you? She continues, her voice cold and unforgiving. You've been stealing from me, from our children, and I never even knew. What else have you been doing, John? What else have you been hiding? John remains silent, his face contorting as he tries to form a defense. But the reality is clear. Anna has figured it out. She's uncovered the lies, the deception, and now there's no turning back. He can't escape the truth. The room goes even quieter, the tension building to a crescendo. Anna's heart is pounding in her chest, but she's resolute now. She's done being the victim, done being the one left in the dark. You thought you could just take everything from me and walk away, didn't you? Anna's words are quiet, but they carry the weight of everything she's endured. Well, it's not that simple, John. You won't walk away from this. Not unscathed. Her eyes turned to Emily one last time. And you, Emily, you really thought you could sit there and pretend like none of this was your fault. Emily's eyes finally meet Anna's, but the shame in her gaze is too much to ignore. She looks away quickly, unable to meet the weight of Anna's gaze. This is far from over. It's only just begun. Anna's voice trembles slightly, but it's not out of fear. It's the raw power of the truth finally being laid bare. She knows now that this is the point of no return. There is no coming back from this. The damage is done, and all she has left to do is expose the full extent of it. She locks eyes with John, her expression hardening with each passing second. I don't even know who you are anymore, she says quietly, but the words feel like a punch to the gut. The man I married is gone. You're nothing but a liar, a thief, and a cheat. You've taken everything from me, my trust, my peace of mind, my family's respect. And for what? To cover your tracks, to keep your secrets, to satisfy your own selfish needs. John opens his mouth, but nothing comes out. His usual confidence has completely evaporated, and he's left with nothing but the hollow shell of a man who has been caught. He tries to speak, to justify himself, but his words are lost in the weight of Anna's gaze. I gave you everything, John, Anna continues, her voice steady despite the fury bubbling inside her. I gave you my love, my loyalty. I believed in you. I trusted you with my heart and my family. And you, she swallows hard, the lump in her throat threatening to choke her, but she doesn't give in. You threw it all away for her, for Emily, for your own selfish desires. Emily flinches as Anna turns her gaze to her. There's no hiding now. The truth is written all over her face. She knows it, Anna knows it, and now everyone else knows it too. The mask of innocence that Emily has worn for years is gone. Tell me, Emily, Anna says, her voice icy cold. How long were you planning on keeping this up? How long did you think you could keep lying to me? Lying to my family? Were you hoping I'd never find out? That I'd just keep being the fool while you played me for a fool? Emily's face pales. Her mouth opens, but no words come out. Her hands are shaking, the shame too great to bear. She finally looks up at Anna, but there's no denying it now. The guilt is written across her face, and there's nothing she can say to take it back. I should have known, Anna says, a bitter laugh escaping her lips. I should have known that nothing in this family was as it seemed. You've all been lying to me, pretending like everything was fine, while behind my back, you've been tearing everything apart. The room is suffocating now, every person in it trapped in the consequences of their actions. Anna can feel the weight of their guilt, their discomfort, their inability to look her in the eye. Anna looks down at her hands, her knuckles white as she grips the edge of the table. She takes a deep breath. But this ends tonight. I'm not going to stand by and let you destroy me anymore. I'm done, John, and I'm done, Emily. You've both destroyed me, but I'm not going to let you ruin what's left of my life. Not anymore. Her heart is pounding, but she's resolute. There's no turning back now. She's taken control. She's done with being the victim. Tonight, the truth is hers, and she's not going to let it go. The silence in the room is deafening. Every person at the table is locked in their own thoughts, processing what has just been revealed. John's face is flushed with shame, his hands clenched tightly in front of him, but he can't find the words to defend himself. Emily looks like she's about to break down, her tears threatening to spill, but she knows she can't. It's too late for that. The weight of Anna's words hangs in the air, suffocating everyone who's left at the table. Her uncle, Dave, looks like he's aged 10 years in the span of a few minutes. His shoulders are slumped, his face filled with a mixture of confusion and disappointment. Anna watches them all, her gaze shifting between John, Emily, and her family. She feels a cold sense of finality settling in her chest. The years of deception, of pretending nothing was wrong, have finally come to an end. The truth is out, and there's no putting it back in the bottle. Anna, Dave begins, his voice weak and unsure. I had no idea. Anna doesn't interrupt him. She's heard enough of the excuses. I know you didn't, Dave, but it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not going to stand here and let them lie to me. Let them tear this family apart and pretend like everything's fine. They've hurt me, Dave, and they've hurt everyone who's ever trusted them. Anna's gaze never leaves Emily's face, which is now streaked with tears. Her cousin has been silent for the entire confrontation, her eyes downcast, her shoulders trembling. But as much as Anna wants to feel sorry for her, there's no room for sympathy anymore. Emily opens her mouth again, this time barely a whisper escaping her lips. I never meant to hurt you, Anna. I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. But the apology is hollow, too late, and Anna doesn't buy it. You meant to hurt me, Emily. You meant to betray me. And you did. You both did. Anna turns back to John, who is now visibly sweating, his face drawn tight with anxiety. The man who always had control, who always had a response, is now reduced to a shadow of his former self. He's trapped, cornered by the truth. You thought you could get away with it, didn't you? Anna says quietly, her voice low and deadly. Well, you didn't. You won't. The rest of the family watches in stunned silence, unsure how to react, unsure what to do. They all feel the weight of the truth, but they're too afraid to acknowledge it out loud. They've been living in a lie for so long, and now it's all coming crashing down. Anna breathes deeply, her heart racing. She's done. She's done with the lies, done with the deceit. Tonight she takes control, and nothing will ever be the same again. The air in the room is thick with tension, almost suffocating, as Anna stands at the center of it all. Her body trembles with the weight of everything that's just been exposed. Her hands, clenched into fists, feel cold with rage. The shock of it all is slowly starting to settle into something sharper, more dangerous. She is no longer the woman who silently accepted the betrayal. She has become something else, something stronger. This moment is hers, and she's determined to make sure no one ever forgets it. Anna turns her back on John for a moment, her heart racing, and lets the room fill with the uncomfortable silence that hangs over them all. She closes her eyes briefly, forcing herself to stay calm, to hold on to her composure. But everything inside her is shaking. The rawness of the betrayal cuts deeper than she expected, sharper than anything she had ever imagined. She doesn't know what hurts more, the affair or the lies, the betrayal by the people she trusted most, the family she thought was hers, the thought of how easily they betrayed her. Anna opens her eyes and faces the room again, focusing on John's face, now red with frustration and guilt. She wants to break him down further, to make him feel every ounce of pain she's feeling, but that would be a waste. He already knows. He already feels the weight of everything crashing down on him. So, John, she says, her voice deadly calm, as though she's already dismissed him from her mind. Where does it go from here? Do you think I'm going to beg for you to stay? To fix this? She laughs, the sound bitter. You've made your choice, and so have I. You wanted out of this marriage. Well, guess what? You're out. I'm done. We're done. John opens his mouth, but she holds up her hand, stopping him before he can say anything. There's nothing left to say. Her gaze never wavers from his, and it's as though she's looking right through him now, into the man she thought she knew, but who is now just a stranger. Anna turns her attention to Emily, who is still sitting frozen at the table, her tears staining her face. Emily looks small, helpless, but Anna is no longer moved by her tears. She's not here to offer comfort. She's not here to fix anything. The time for that has long passed. You think a few tears are going to make this better? Anna says sharply. You think I'm just going to forgive you because you look sorry now? It's too late for that, Emily. You've betrayed me, and I can't undo that. Not now, not ever. Emily's face crumples further. I never meant to hurt you, Anna. I swear I didn't. Anna cuts her off, her voice unyielding. No, you meant to. You didn't have the courage to stop it when it first started. You didn't have the decency to tell me the truth when you knew. You kept it going. and that makes you just as guilty. The silence that follows is deafening. John's gaze flickers from Anna to Emily, his face filled with frustration, but he doesn't speak. Emily looks down at her lap as if trying to disappear into the table. Anna stands before them both, unwavering. For the first time in years, Anna doesn't feel the need to hold back. She doesn't have to be the forgiving wife, the understanding cousin. Tonight, she takes back her power. She steps away from the mess they've made of her life and makes it clear that she will never let them make a fool of her again. The room has become a battlefield. But for Anna, this battle has already been won. The truth is out, and nothing can change it now. She's faced the betrayal, confronted the lies, and now she has nothing left to lose. Anna's heart is still racing, but she feels an unexpected calm settling in. She looks around the room at her family, who are now looking at her like they don't quite recognize her. She doesn't care. They've all failed her in some way. They've all stood by and let John and Emily destroy what she thought was a stable family. Tonight, that's over. Listen to me, all of you, Anna says, her voice steady, commanding. This is not a marriage anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. I've wasted years of my life trying to make it work, trying to fix something that wasn't broken until you two decided to shatter it. Her eyes flicker toward Emily and then back to John. You've torn this family apart, but I won't let you take any more from me. I won't let you destroy what's left of my peace, of my future. Her words hang in the air, resonating with the finality she feels inside. The time for healing is gone. Now is the time for action, for taking back control, for rebuilding everything that has been shattered. From here on out, Anna continues, her voice clear and powerful, I'm taking what's mine. And you, she points at John and Emily, who are still too stunned to react, will have to live with the consequences of what you've done. She takes a deep breath and stands taller. This is the moment she has been waiting for, the moment she has taken back the power. No longer a victim, no longer a bystander in her own life. She is the one in control now. Goodbye, John. Goodbye, Emily, she says with cold finality, turning her back on them both. Her steps are slow and deliberate as she walks toward the door, her heart racing but her mind clear. As she steps outside into the cool night air, Anna feels a strange sense of relief. The weight that has been on her shoulders for so long is finally gone. The betrayal is over. The lies are over. And now she's free. For the first time in years, she feels something new. A sense of freedom, of possibility. The future is hers to shape, and she knows exactly how she's going to do it. No more lies, no more secrets. No more letting others dictate her life. Tonight she's taking control, and nothing will ever be the same again. The night air is cool against Anna's skin as she steps outside, feeling the weight of the confrontation finally lifting off her shoulders. Her heart is still pounding in her chest, but the tension in the house, the tension that has been there for years, is gone. She no longer feels trapped, no longer feels like a prisoner to John's lies or Emily's betrayal. For the first time in years, Anna feels a spark of hope, a glimmer of possibility in the future. The pain is still there, raw and fresh, but it's no longer the center of her world. Tonight, she took control. She stood up for herself. And now the pieces of her broken life begin to slowly fit back together. She leans against the railing of the patio, looking out at the stars, feeling the cool breeze ruffle her hair. It's a moment of clarity, a moment where she knows exactly what she has to do next. She's done being the woman in the background. She's done playing second fiddle to John's mistakes and Emily's lies. The sound of the door opening behind her catches her attention, and she doesn't have to turn around to know who it is. Davon walks out onto the patio, his steps slow, deliberate. He stands next to her, his silence speaking volumes. "Are you okay?" he asks after a long pause. His voice is soft, filled with concern, but also regret. Anna takes a deep breath, her chest tight as she exhales slowly. "I'm going to be," she says, her voice steady. "I'm going to be okay, Dave. I needed to do that. I needed to take back control of my life." Dave nods, though there's something else in his eyes, something that reflects his own disappointment in what has happened, in the family he thought was so perfect. I wish I could have done something sooner, he says quietly. Anna shakes her head, her lips pressed together in a tight smile. You didn't know, Dave. You didn't know what was happening. But I know now, and that's enough for me. The two of them stand there in silence for a few moments, the sound of the night surrounding them. There's no rush to fill the space with words. Anna has said what she needed to say. The confrontation, the truth, it's all been laid bare. And now she's ready for the next chapter, the chapter where she takes back her life. As Anna stands there, the reality of what she's just done begins to sink in. She's made her choice. She's chosen herself. She's chosen her future, one where she is no longer shackled by the past or held hostage by the people who betrayed her. In the distance, she hears the faint sound of raised voices inside the house, the fallout from the confrontation she's just started. But she doesn't need to be there. She's done her part. The truth has been exposed, and now it's time for them to deal with the consequences. Anna feels a sense of relief wash over her, but it's mixed with something else, a sense of anticipation, of excitement. She doesn't know what the future holds, but for the first time in years, she's ready to find out. Thank you for being here, Dave, Anna says softly, glancing over at her uncle. But I have to go now. I need to take the next step. Dave doesn't try to stop her. He understands. The woman he's known, the one who always put others first, has finally found her voice. And now she's walking away from the mess that's been made. Anna turns toward the driveway, where her car is parked. The keys are in her hand, but they feel different now, heavier with purpose, lighter with freedom. She knows exactly what she has to do next, and it doesn't involve John or Emily. It doesn't involve the family who failed her. This time, it's about her. She walks toward the car, her steps firm and steady, each one taking her farther from the past, closer to the future she's going to build. The air feels fresher now, the night sky above clearer. There's a sense of renewal in every breath she takes, in every step she makes. As she starts the car and drives away from the house, Anna doesn't look back. She's already looking ahead, to a new chapter, to a new life, one where she is in control. The future is hers to shape, and nothing will ever hold her back again.